Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Vampire the Dark Ages Isle of the Damned. This is my lovely little role playing stream in which we are playing Vampire the Dark Ages 20th edition. And it is set on the Isle of Man, where we have a coterie of lovely vampires trying to survive and deal with the strange, conniving politics of the creatures of the night. I am Mark, aka the CatsMeow, your storyteller for today's stream, and I think we will start with an introduction of our players and the characters that they are indeed playing. Why don't we start with Mars?
Yes, hello. I'm Mars, and I will be playing Maud.
All right, next up, Rebecca.
Hi, I am Rebecca, and I will be playing Iris, the La Sombra.
All right, next up, Thomas.
Hello, my name is Thomas, and tonight I will be playing Randolph of Clan Gangrel.
Oops, this way.
Next up, Blue.
Hey everyone, I'm Blue, and tonight I'll just be playing a little guy, Gwyneth. Just little Zamitsy guy. Nothing to worry about.
Nothing to worry about at all. And last but certainly not least, Drew.
Hey everyone, I'm Drew. I'll be playing Sir Oliver of Normandy. He's a Ventrue, because, everybody's got one on theirs.
Everybody gets one.
Our token Venture.
Well, it's got to be
Right
good
then.
at something.
With that, we can move on to a recap of the previous session. Now, I would like to ask our dear players, would any of you like to lead a recap of what you guys remember from last week?
Well, we all met in a council where we were introduced. The council was being led by Prince Father Collins, who looked tireder than usual, and later revealed to Iris that he was needing to do the long torpor very soon. Torpor. He also told us about 3 incidents. A beast that was threatening the silence, the Blackwood Captain man, and Sister Marana, who were in a dispute of some sort, or involved in a kind dispute. Then we went and spoke with them. Sir Oliver spoke with Captain Blackwood. Iris spoke with Sister Marana, and then the others found out details of the beast.
Team Disney Princess
Disney
Right up.
princesses.
on the job.
Oh, yes.
Calling to the spirits of the land with the Kraina of Wales, or the spirits of the land with the powers of the spirits, or the spirits of the land by smelling the ground. We each tracked in our way the culprit of those sightings of beasts. And it was a pack of wild dogs with a vicious and gnarly history. In a nearby cave, which I believe a spiritual bat showed visions to Maud, there are a pack of wild dogs, and that is where they stake their claim. Their history
Give it a try.
revealed by the land through Gwynedd, saying that he was a vampire who fancied himself a god, summoned a group of wild dogs to him, and something didn't go quite right, and he was devoured whole by them. Now they have a hunger for kindred vitae, and of course, that gives them a certain strength when dealing with people and animals too. There was another thing that the prince mentioned, which is war coming to our shores.
Yes.
Right.
War which may be fought by proxies of the Prince of Edinburgh or and the Prince of the Baronies of Avalon, Mithras. There are mortal kings fighting over the Isle of Man. Specifically, Ragnvald Gundarsson, the claimant to the Kingdom of the Isles, and Olaf Gundarsson, Olaf the Black, current King of the Isles. And we ended the session with a knight bursting through the door, quite exhausted after running quite a ways, telling us that ships have made landfall, led by Ragnvald.
Thus, the fun begins as we begin our second session of Isle of the Damned. Echoes of War and Shadow.
Ooh.
The year is 1229, and the Isle of Man trembles under the weight of uncertainty. The once peaceful waters surrounding the city of Peel now churn with foreign sails, and the growing tension between clans and Canaanites alike. Ragnvald Gundarsson, the former king of the Isles, has returned with Scottish allies, his ambition rekindled once more. As rumors of treachery and naval invasion spread, the city braces itself for war. Yet the true enemy lurks in the shadows, not always clad in mortal flesh. The land is reckless. Feuding families spill blood in the streets, as strange beasts roam the countryside, leaving nothing but terror and corpses in its wake. The prince of the city, Father Collins, is nowhere to be seen, leaving the city to slowly begin its descent into chaos, until another shall take his place. All eyes turn upon our haphazard coterie of kindred, forming simply due to their connection and circumstance. Let us find out what will happen next, and whether their decisions will lead to a rising, glimmering city, or the fall into unparalleled disaster.
Wait, no.
With that, we flash back to a tale of the past. Memories deeply buried within the consciousness of our kindred. We see a battlefield, far from the shores of the Isle of Man, upon the mainland of Europe. We hear the sounds of clashing steel and cries of the fallen, as we find ourselves focusing in on the figure of Sir Oliver, our noble Ventru knight, as he leads men against the invading French forces in the Norman heartlands. However, he does so not on behalf of his lord, but on the behalf of the people he serves and the friends he has made. For he does not want to see the noble, righteous men of either France nor Normandy fall. Yet in this battle, in the year 1204, he finds his hopes and desires dashed upon the rocks. We see forces line up on the battlefield, as Sir Oliver, a command of his own of Norman knights, centers himself between the two forces, attempting to convince them to stand down, that this was not a battle that must happen, a battle that could be avoided. Yet in the moment, something changes. in the hearts of all that stand upon the muddied field. A battle frenzy, darkest of madnesses, overtakes them all, including the noble Sir Oliver. Bloodlust, violence, unnatural. It starts with the enemies fighting each other, until blow lands upon the backs of allies, until it is nothing but a brutal frenzy of death and destruction. We see as Sir Oliver stands atop a battlefield of bodies and blood. His once glimmering sword, stained with the crimson red of the lifeblood of friend and foe alike. He sees the figure upon the mountain, the twisting face that scars his memory. Each night it changes, but it is always there, laughing, calling, demanding more blood. With that, we return back to the meeting room, as we center in on Sir Oliver's face before pulling back out to the chamber as a whole. As you are, as a group, left to discuss what your next options will be. Knowing that you may not have a lot of time before the invaders reach the city, if you do plan to meet them out on a battlefield, rather than let this turn into a siege.
Oh. We have to organize. We have to organize right now.
That we do. Our struggle here is twofold. One, we must ensure that the mortals and the Cainites of this land are prepared to defend it, that the city can hold. And two, that our, I suppose, improvised authority in the prince's absence remains unchecked. With that in mind, those with an eye for leading men into battle, and his head will tilt towards Sir Oliver, should likely get to ensuring our defenses are up to snuff and our people are in place. Tell me, do you have the... You are a knight in the service of the lords here, yes? On paper, at least?
Yes. However, there are two things that must be done. First of all, those who cannot fight need to be pulled back into a centralized location. I suggest the church. Second of all, you know the land outside the city much better than I do. Where are some potential places where we might meet them to our advantage, instead of dealing with a siege which is doomed to fail in the first place?
We can
Aye.
gather supplies at the church and make certain that those that cannot fight are well taken care of and protected.
It's quite important that it doesn't come to a siege. I know well how hard it is to stockpile food for the average person. First the people will starve, and then we will.
Or we'll break the silence. Yes, we need to get supplies and women, children, and those that are not of an age where they can protect themselves into the church and protected. And that's at least our last final fallback. Meanwhile, we need to rouse any knights and men-at-arms out to the field. You tell us where to be, and we can get there and start our defense.
Aye. Gwynedd, Maud, the both of you have esoteric advantages that I so dearly hope the enemy lacks. You can bring those to bear to find any advantage we can, whether it be that of the land or the beast.
Of course.
Worst case scenario, we
Blue?
know there's a pack of quite savage wild dogs nearby. What were you going to say, Gwyneth?
Well, I see the need to get the non-fighting forces somewhat safe, but I also see this as a strategic time to prevent them from getting very far inland if we can.
Hmm.
So,
Fair point.
Well, would we do that? Exactly.
We let those who cannot fight organize themselves, but call for them to fall back. What they do at that point, we can't control. But I can get them. I am confident that by starting a chain of command, meaning telling them that it needs to happen, it'll happen.
Would
Meanwhile, we're rounding
y-
people up.
so there's no intent of meeting them at sea then. That's good.
I
We don't
see that.
exactly have the most prodigious navy.
Well, I had to be certain. I wasn't sure exactly how we would prevent them getting more inland, per se.
With that in mind, you have quite an important duty here, Iris. You were the closest to the prince. I believe I'm not being unfair when I say this. He looks around to everyone.
He shakes his head.
In his absence, because of his absence, there
Yes.
must be here at least a simulacrum of his authority kept around. The Cainites must learn to obey the call of those who are leading the defense, at the very least, or to bring their resources to bear in its defense. You must be the one to marshal them, same as Sir Oliver marshals the fighters.
I can do that.
Storyteller, was the person that let us know that the attack was happening, are they still, how far away would they be at this point?
They'd probably be. They probably would have said the message and then left. I imagine you guys would have shooed him away instead of talking about this stuff in
Yeah.
front of him.
Oh, absolutely,
Absolutely,
yeah. Otherwise, I'd
yeah.
have to kill him.
Yeah.
So he's probably like
I
outside the
assume- I mean,
door.
That
Waiting for
line
a
Yeah.
Randolph
response.
said about the silence must be kept, and then just like snapping
Yeah.
the knight's neck for no.
that was more of a how
Especially-
long has he been gone?
Oh, how
Was he
long
a
has he been
knight? Or
He was a knight.
Okay. On that note, as they're discussing deeper tactics and things, Oliver's gonna nod to the group and I'll be back. And I'm going to try to run to catch up to him.
Yeah, you'd find him basically standing outside the door, waiting for you.
Okay. Okay. You have a horse.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I need you to get on your horse and get the rest of the knights and squires and men-at-arms prepared to meet us on the edge of town so we can push out. We will meet you there, and I will take command.
Of course, my lord.
Well, thank you.
That he immediately makes his way off.
Randolph will speak to the remaining kindred in the room, and he will say, I shall do as Sir Oliver recommended. In matters of war, it is to him I defer. I will get a bird's eye view of the field and see where perhaps the best place might be. I shall leave Esoterica to the rest of you, and I'll see if I can notice anything odd about our people. do not misunderstand me. While an army is dangerous to a Cainite, more dangerous still are the forces that drive them. Whether it's Mithras, whether it's the Prince of Edinburgh, I do not know. But I know this. To stop the invasion, we have to make it be more trouble than it is worth to try and invade here. That I believe we can do. And Mr. Mark, I am going to spend a point of blood, and I am going to
Oh.
take the full 3 turns. Oh, yes?
As a reminder, why don't you all roll me a d10?
Hmm?
Oh yeah,
Oh.
let's go.
Storyteller, can you
Sure
manage
thing.
that for me? Thank you.
Absolutely.
I do have the merit efficient digestion. Would that apply to this dice roll?
Yes, it would. So you do the, I think it's 1.5?
Indeed.
And you might check mine, because
No,
I
what
might have that too. I can't remember.
I'll have a
Why have I
check.
forgotten how to roll dice on Roll20? Slash roll.
Something about a slash.
Yeah,
You
slash
can do
R.
/R 1d10.
Yeah.
There's also a sidebar on the top left-hand corner of Roll20.
Oh, there is. Yes. No, I see it now. Thank you.
No worries.
Merit force. Yes, Sorova does in fact have efficient digestion.
Hell yeah. We've got the opposite of what a beer gut is.
Do some quick math.
One is bad, right?
Yeah, 1 is bad.
Fine.
Yeah.
It's only
I
one.
think-
They're rolling
I'm hungry.
Yeah.
I'm hungry.
Exactly like Call of Cthulhu or Pendragon. It's a roll under system.
Oh yeah.
Sorova,
Rolled
you were
under a
starting
10.
with 14 blood points.
Can I top off with... Could I have had topped off with herd?
Absolutely. With the amount of herd you have. 3 dots. You are at full blood.
Thank you.
For you, Thomas, you start with 15 blood.
15. That's right.
Blue, you start with 7 blood. Mord, you start with 3 blood, and
Yep.
Nairis, you start with 1 blood.
I do have 2 dots of herd.
Then you can use those. I
Oh,
believe
yeah.
Those
2 dots, you
those
get
2 dots
6
of-
vessels.
Oh, true.
I
Those
need
2
to
dots
double
of
check.
herd are the only thing keeping us alive in the room right now.
Yep.
I'm
only
Otherwise-
have
very
two dots of
stressed
herd.
out, you guys.
Yeah. I
My
do also have
prince.
two dots of herd.
Let me quickly refer to the book.
Zippo.
The book. If I can find where I put it.
Let me
Mhm.
take a look as well.
Just had it
Herd.
2 hours ago.
Yeah,
Yep.
but I did other things within those 2 hours.
I know.
How dare you?
That's such a
I do
mood.
other
You
things,
weren't just
Drew.
like chomping at the bit,
Mhm.
waiting for game time for the last like 3 hours.
Of course. And then I
Y'all
remembered
don't
I have
know
to
our
plan shit.
storyteller at all.
Yep.
'Cause I'm
That's the
running it.
mood.
So making it up as we
7
go along
vessels,
as usual.
2 dots of herd.
Oh,
Ah,
Seven
yes.
vessels?
So you can safely take 7 points of blood per week without
Okay.
causing any damage to your herd.
Cool.
Okay,
So that would mean that I would start with 7 dots? Or...
It means you
Adding
would,
to the
yeah, you would have 8 in total. But remember, that's if you take all that you can take without harming them for the whole week.
Yep. Yep.
So you can't use it again later on in the week.
I might use a little bit of that because I've got 2 dots of herd too. I might take.
Yeah.
I think I'll take
But-
5 dots total.
All right.
Yeah, I might.
Do make a note down somewhere
4.
how much you've taken for the week.
Actually, yeah, no, I might take 3.
And just
Take
for
up to 6
clarification's sake, I would have taken 3 to go up 6, right? Or it's 1.5, so it's...
It's 1.5, so 4 would go up to 6, but 3
Yeah.
would go up to 5.
Yeah, 4. Or 3 would... Yeah, 4. 4, 4, 4. Got it.
Must be nice to have people who will give you your blood willingly. Thanks,
I am
Randolph.
cultivated.
Important thing to
Oh
remember.
yeah,
you guys
think
can
it so I
share
can't
that shit.
sass you. Okay.
You guys can share herd if you want.
Randolph. Is Randolph okay?
Oh yeah, Randolph is fine for blood.
Okay, I show up about
Is anybody still after hurting still on the edge of their limits?
Are you asking if we're still hurting after hurting?
Yes.
Do
Exactly that.
take a
I
note.
hurt
If
you.
you are at half or less than your maximum blood pool, let me know. That goes for any
Okay.
time.
I'll spend.
Just for
I'll add one more.
clarification,
Yeah.
for the stream, how
Mhm.
would we find out our total blood pool?
Your total blood pool is based upon your generation. Because I like the idea of generations being secret, I will go through the list for
Oh,
people
yep.
who need to know.
Yep.
Let's look for.
Just like a Ventrudar, I have shown his hand. There we go.
I mean, you can assume Aventro has low generation.
I would never be born 14th generation. Disgusting.
Never heard something so strange, so thin-blooded as a 10th generation. What is that?
I will say a funny thing. In this period of time, the 13th generation does not exist. There are no 13 gens. Or
And
if they are, they're
they
very
aren't around
rare.
for long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't
They're
last long either.
basically a myth at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. With the same kind of fascinated repulsion that people view the 15th gens in the modern knights, the 13th gen in these knights.
Absolutely.
Manhattan.
Okay. Ah, yes. Here we go. So, in terms of generation, if you have 5 dots of generation, you are a 7th gen. Meaning you have 20 points in your blood pool. You can spend 4 points of blood per turn, and you can present traits of level 6. 8th generation is 4 dots, 15 blood pool, can spend 3 points per turn. 9th generation, 3 dots, 14 blood pool, can spend 2 bloods per turn. 10th generation, 2 dots, 13 blood pool, can spend 1 blood per turn, and 1 dot. 11th generation, 12 blood points, can spend 1 blood point per turn. And if you take no dots in generation, you are a 12th generation. And you have 11 points, can spend 1 blood per turn. Isn't learning fun?
Learning is
Yeah.
fun.
Nothing
You're
like a
welcome,
hierarchy
stream.
designed to keep
This was-
down.
Education for your benefit, not ours. We know
Exactly.
everything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We know.
We're so professional.
Alright, yes, so if you have a blood pool that is, at any point that is under half your current maximum, do let me know. Because then stuff starts happening.
Okay.
Cool.
Uh,
Cool.
Maybe I should take
Speaking
more then.
Yeah, I
Use
decided to
hurt
take
as
more.
well. Yeah.
I'll let the feeding happen.
Thank you. Hal, I've still got quite a bit of willing vessels. What are we looking at for each person to get you at least,
Again, you guys can always
Don't-
attempt to feed. It takes a little bit of
Yeah.
time. And there's sometimes the consequences. But it should be fine, right?
Yeah, it should be fine.
Only weak hunters get cornered by their prey.
Alright. In that case, with blood decided, I believe you guys
Should be
made some
okay.
decisions as to what you would be up to.
Yes. I'm going to spend 1 of those points of blood, and I'm just going to take the whole 3 turns. There's no need to bamf. But I am going to invoke a power of the blood. It is the shape of the beast. Over the next 6 seconds, his flesh morphs and twists in a very unsettling way, except for Gwynedd, who's seen that kind of stuff before. And he is going to take his flight form, that of a hawk. And he is going to alight on airborne wings, and he's going to basically do what Sir Oliver recommended, which is get bird's eye view of the battlefield, scout around, maybe look for a good place to stage a defense, stage a counterattack, and provide. He's a satellite. He's a drone.
All right. So you're going flight mode.
Flight mode.
And what were the rest of you doing at this point in time?
Iris would go to the church to fortify it properly and evacuate people who cannot fight, and also get people who can be moral support that we can lean on.
All right. Would that include finding Cainite allies within the city, organizing them?
Yes.
All right.
Because
Sir Oliver, I believe you're attempting to organize some troops together.
Yep, he's gonna meet him out at the outskirts where he told the other night and whatnot to. While they're getting gathered together, await word from our satellite so that we can form proper attack plans.
All right. Sounds good. Maud and Gwynedd, what the two of you up to?
Real quick first, how do I use herd to get more blood points?
Your herd level gives you a number of vessels. How many dots of herd do you have?
Oh.
Uh-oh. Oh no,
Oh,
I
no.
think we've lost connection.
No!
Oh no!
No.
how many dots of her do you have? Not enough.
No.
How many dots of her do you have? Stares at the.
I'm gonna quickly
stares at
nip
the
out for a
screen.
bit and grab some
Oh,
thing from the shops.
you're back.
Hey, welcome back.
Yeah, I didn't do it.
Alright, how many dots of herd do you have?
Yeah, blame the cat.
Yeah, 4.
4 dots of herd.
Hey.
Alright, you can take up
Yay.
to 30 points of blood per week without harming your herd.
Bitch.
Damn!
Okay.
Ah.
Let's just take an extra 7 for now.
Alright.
You know, I talk a big game about, the sacredness of hunting and stuff, but honestly, that's a good deal. I like that.
I mean, animal herding should be your thing, right?
Animals taste bad.
Agreed, but you're not me.
Animals are friends, not food.
Aye. People,
They
though,
don't like me
they're
enough.
food.
Alright. So what have we got of Maud and Gwynedd? What are you guys up to?
I think Maud might, seeing as Randolph was kind of taking a eye in the sky approach, she might attempt to do the same to an extent, but more kind of like on the ground. I think she would possibly also spend a point of blood and also use for sort of animalism, Whispers of the Wild. See if she can get some of the nearby animals to kind of like, well, nearby animal to kind of like keep an eye, especially in like the area where Maud suspects they might kind of be docking near. Kind of trying to make sure they don't push too far in.
Yeah, trying to see what they're currently
Yeah.
doing. Okay.
Yeah.
Have a look at this level power. Well, I'm doing so. Gwynedd, what's your plan?
Speaking of Gwyneth's herd, he is a little bit concerned for them in this situation, so he is actually going to go to his village, of Trevor Woodon and speak to his childer and get them organizing some things in the town. As you know, good general as deputies. And
Alright.
the cat is scrolling. Please don't scroll, cat.
Diversify.
Then. Go to look after your people. Meanwhile, Mord, why don't you make me a manipulation animal ken? What type of
Absolutely.
creature? Before you do, what type of creature? What type of animal are you getting? Because in a city section, you're more likely to find dogs, cats,
Yeah.
rats, birds.
Yeah. Definitely. I think she mostly would go towards possibly something that kind of comes off non-threatening. I think she might attempt to like find a dog.
All right. Dog.
Yeah, manipulation, animal can.
Yes. So this is going to be.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be difficulty 6. This case.
Yep. Alright. Oh. Can I
Ooh.
spend a point of willpower on that one?
I'm
One.
gonna allow it, but next time
Oh yeah, I said
do so
4.
ahead of time.
Sorry. Yep.
All good, but we'll do it this time. So
yeah, of
that's
course.
2 successes, which is what you needed.
Yep.
With one of the dogs that kind of lives among one of the street dogs, kind of comes up to you as you talk to it and convince it to go have a look at what's going on over by the place where you'd heard that the ships had landed. And the dog kind of agrees and begins to make its way off. And saying that we'll return with information in time. During which... during which we will cut to Randolph. As he is flying high through the air.
Randolph loves flying. The reason he doesn't do it more often is largely because when you're flying quite high up in the air, the horizon is significantly more dangerous should the sun rise. The other is that most of his prey are on the ground. But in this case, it's quite a useful thing as he flies, flapping his wings against the stream of the cold Isle air.
Right. At which point, we are going to have you do a perception and alertness.
Would the specialty search apply here?
Indeed it would. And you're rolling this at a standard difficulty because of your
Indeed.
improved eyesight from the bird.
Give me one brief second.
Someone at the
Sorry.
door.
Someone is at the door.
Eyes
Kill
of the
them.
eagle.
Could I also, if it would help, activate the powers of Protean 1, Eyes of the Beast, to get night vision?
I'd probably say not in your current form.
Fair enough. All right. In that case, just standard diff.
Yep.
Sorry, my laptop is much slower than my regular computer.
And what is standard difficulty?
6.
I mean, I know.
6.
Yeah. This roll would have been an 8, but with the eyes of the eagle, it
Ooh.
lowers it.
Now that says 0 successes. However, because it's a specialty, that would end up as 2 successes.
Yes, because you get doubled successes for the crits.
Thank God.
Oh.
So with 2
Our
successes,
3 ones is embarrassing.
I'm considering taking you in the rule where ones negative successes, because that's fucking harsh. That was...
It is pretty bad.
Yeah. For now, we'll keep it, but I'll consider it going forward. But with 2 successes, you manage to get an idea of what the host looks like, the army that has begun to form. You see a number of ships that have kind of docked, or I should say, have beached themselves, rather. From what you can tell, looking at the different flags and banners, a lot of them seem to be... Actually, no, this would be a intelligence politics. Or a wits politics. One or the other you can choose. And this would be difficulty 8.
I will take wits. Give me a brief moment. Da 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 da. Sorry about this. I just have to make a new one. Three successes.
Alright,
Huzzah.
3 successes. You actually recognize these to be the banners of a number of lords of Scotland. None of them seem to be the Scottish King's banner, but a number of them are of some of the minor lords of the area.
The Prince of Edinburgh may have pulled some strings. That or the ex-king did.
There's
He
also
thinks
a
in his
couple...
birdie mind.
Yeah, there's also a couple banners you don't recognize. Ones that don't seem Scottish. At least not from the markings or the house, the coat of arms they have, rather. From what you can see, it's a
Understood.
rather large host. Probably an army that would rival what Peel may have at the moment. It would be a harsh battle. As well, it's hard to tell if there are any Cainites involved. If there are, none of them are obvious. But you would notice...
Indeed.
The previous King of the Isles is indeed here. You can also see his banners that kind of sit outside of a large tent.
Indeed.
From what you can tell, they're preparing to march. But they have not marched yet.
Got you. Randolph takes note of all of this, beady bird eyes watching from above, floating silently on the wind streams before he is going to fly back to report.
Alright. During which, we will cut over to Sir Oliver. So, Sir Oliver, you will begin getting together as many of the knights and organizing them to be ready for battle. However, you are notified by the knight that you talked to that he was unable to comply with your request, as there was another order that was given to him that he simply could not refuse.
What was that order?
It was an order from the king himself. King Olaf has asked that we prepare ourselves to meet the exiled. To meet the exile in battle. Apparently he readies to march, meet them upon the roads before they reach the city. We shall either reach them by the morn, or perhaps a little later.
Oliver takes a moment, considering, shaking his head a bit. And then he simply shrugs. You have your orders. I will adjust my plans. Thank you for letting me know. Now, go do as you're told. Thank you.
Of course, my lord. That he bows and salutes you before turning around and making his way to return with the rallying army.
What does that leave? As far as people.
From what it seems to be, pretty much the entire city, as well as the other cities, have begun to rally their armies and march them towards a marshalling point that has been designated.
Same plan. Okay.
As it is now, as the king has made the orders, almost everyone is immediately acting to do so.
Right. That is not actually against what my plan was. So there will be no disobeyance. Whatever has assembled here before anything else is whatever small force may have assembled here, the nod to obey the king's order would be, acknowledged, and he would rally what his force or whatever else is left to do the same. Still waiting on word back from the 2 scouts regarding best places to obey the king's order, but also take a couple stands.
So I assume that you're rallying the men, but not preparing to march out yet. Waiting for your scouts to report in, if as you were.
Correct.
All right. Cool. Meanwhile, we will cut to Iris. So
Yes.
you're attempting to well, fortifying the church isn't difficult. You can just basically tell people, and then they will begin to do so.
Yay.
It's usually a safe haven to anyone that holds faith in the Lord, if you will.
I very much will, of course.
So it's very much a place
City
for
has
everyone.
walls, right?
Oh yeah,
We're not
it
just
does.
with no walls. We're in a church. Okay, making sure.
We're
No, the
Catholic,
the
not
city has
pagan.
walls. Yeah.
What's wrong with being pagan?
Nothing.
Yeah, what's wrong
We're
with being
just
pagan?
that's we're just nothing. We're Catholic, and they have
Yes.
churches.
But yes, the church and its catacombs are beginning to fill with women and children from all over the town as they prepare for the possibility of a siege hitting the city. It is also during this time you can attempt to rally forth the other kindred of the city. To do so, I will need a charisma and leadership.
Great of that. Gonna spend a willpower.
All right.
Eh. Charisma and leadership. That is 3 successes with the willpower.
All right. 3 successes. You managed to get 3 kindred of the city to answer your call.
Hey.
Captain Edmund Blackwood, Sister Morana, who do not look happy to see each other, and another mysterious figure who has made the city his home for the time being. One who you've met before, but I don't think anyone else has.
Aha.
This is one Amir al-Hakim.
Amir. It's been quite some time.
Indeed it has, my lady. When I heard you were looking for those who have made the city their home, I thought it was important that I would show myself. From what I hear, things are about to get quite difficult.
It looks to be that way. We need all the help we can get, and the prince has stressed that now more than ever, the city needs to be unified. And then she will shoot a glance over to Sister Marana and Father Blackwood. Please,
Cap-
for now, this island is both of your homes. And the kindred, the Canaanites, are your charges, as well as mine.
Captain Blackwood scowls. Fine. I will do what I can to protect this city. I'm not interested in getting into damages or debt to protect something I don't have to. I've already suffered enough thanks to that. He scowls as he looks over to Morana. Morana just looks at him with a neutral, pallid expression before turning her attention to you. I will do what is needed to aid. Simply ask. And I will do what I can.
I expect that with the feud, any help that is offered would perhaps help us look kinder on both sides. You know, the more one helps, the more favor they might earn in the eyes of our prince.
And with that,
Just a
you
suggestion.
hear Captain Blackwood speak up. And where is the old priest?
He is tending to those that need it, or at least doing his job. He's doing his part. He's doing what needs to be done.
Manipulation subterfuge. Difficulty 7.
Yeah.
Meow. Not a good life.
Ooh. 0606. He simply looks at you and narrows his eyes for a moment.
All right. He's elsewhere.
Fine. Whatever.
We need help. We need forces. And we need, when she says help, she looks to, Anut. Looks to, Amir. And says help when she says forces. She looks to Captain Blackwood and Sister Marana. And we need information. All three are things that you specialize in. Can I trust you to do what is needed for the island, for its people?
The three of them look to each other for a moment. Glint of suspicion among all three of them, before they all seem to nod. Captain Blackwood being the first to speak up. Fine. I'll prepare what I can. I do have a few men that owe me a few good, solid favors. And that Sister Marana nods. I will see what I can find. Amir simply looks between the two of them and goes, and I will see if I can cover some sort of middle ground.
Yes. Thank you. Understand that it will be appreciated. If you can't do it for altruism, do it knowing that it will reflect well on you.
With that, they all nod before heading off their own separate ways to do as has been requested. Meanwhile, we will cut back to Gwynedd, as Gwynedd has begun preparing the defense of his village. So why don't you tell us, Gwynedd, what kind of village do we see when we arrive? What's the kind of vibe of the place?
The vibe of the place is very like extended family. Yeah, non-zero chance that most of these people are related to each other, cousins of cousins, and they're, you know, getting this news. They're weirdly not panicking about what's going on. You know, so his childer, Morgan, is going to get the fighters together, probably report to Sir Oliver. I would say the particular fighters from this village, they have some special skills. They're, you know, bigger, maybe longer limbed than some other folks. Maybe have some other things they can do. So they're pretty calm, you know, families saying goodbye to each other as we separate, you know, fighters and non.
Lost
Cat
Thomas
did
for a
not
moment.
do that.
Lily, you menace.
Did in fact update Discord. I don't know how. Sorry about the
So
internet.
talented. Anyway.
All right.
No worries.
So why don't you tell me a little
and-
more about Morgan, by the way?
So Morgan is very dark hair, shoulder length, kind of keen, like disturbing green eyes. Just very, you know, very obedient, you know, to his sire, and yeah,
All
getting
right.
down to business.
All right.
And then Tueshin, the other one, is getting the women and children and everybody who needs to be evacuated to the city. It's sort of like
Alright.
it's sort of like a light and dark dichotomy between the two of them.
Mhm.
Sort of dishwater blonde hair, like very different from the fighter types that are going with Morgan, like more just like wiry, kind of thin, but also tall, and yeah,
All right. What was her name again?
and more of a tuition, which
I'm
I
gonna
can
need to
spell
spell
that
that.
for you. Because that's a name that you've probably seen before but not heard pronounced that way. Double L is
You mean that's
special.
not pronounced Llewellyn?
It is not. That's not how you pronounce double L in Welsh. I know.
My
And,
lengthened
there's
dragon
episodes
is
of Doctor
alive.
Who where you can hear them saying it correctly. If you don't believe me.
I believe you.
Yes. So yeah. And Tueshin has just like a very calm vibe, like kind of a shepherd vibe, like, okay, we're going and we're doing this, and yeah, just taking supplies because we'll need them to the city.
All right.
Yeah.
Very nice. So with that, you get everything together. That's pretty easy for you. And
Yep.
you get that all sorted. Meanwhile, we return back to Mord as a hound makes their way over to her, bowing slightly before speaking. saying that they saw a number of strange men dressed in sharp pieces of metal, um, seemingly preparing themselves for some sort of fight. They
I
also
see.
saw some strange things that looked like men but didn't smell like them. They say they're kind of like you, but different.
I think Maud would smile, just kind of kneeling at the hound's height and kind of patting them on the head.
All right.
Thank you.
Then with that, you all managed to convene together for your last meeting of the night, for day is approaching quickly.
Well, how did everyone do?
Not great.
I found something's out.
What?
Specifically,
Is Randolph still a bird?
I assume not.
It costs a blood point to get out, but he will.
I mean, if he wants
Just
to land on
curious, you were
somebody's
gonna-
shoulder.
He is straight up currently a bird, but he will merge to give his report.
Alright.
Hmm.
Continue.
I was able to find out that there appeared to be a lot of armored people heading in. Although some of them weren't mortal, exactly,
That's
I'm
important to
assuming-
know.
like us.
You know.
Yes.
Well, we can know one thing. Should the attack happen in the morning, there won't be much of a problem.
But the likelihood that it does.
Actually, there's quite. Think about it. If you're coming in from the sea in the evening and deploying your troops out on the roads, it's unlikely that they are all Cainite and more the servants of Cainites.
Indeed, one doesn't field Cainites en masse. These
No.
are selected agents placed here for a specific reason, either to influence or to infiltrate. And we will deal with what their mission is later. But the sun rises
Or
soon, and they
perhaps
have
to
the same
make-
problems as we do.
There is also the possibility that they have come to create more that will obey them out of our own.
They do that, they're then the ones who are going to die next. Mass
Like-
embraces aren't a common tactic.
Do you think
Point.
they really care?
Perhaps we should meet them and find out.
Aye.
Point of order, the king has mustered all of the troops and put them out to march. What advantages did you see?
I saw that a number of the troops that were supporting the ex-king, and indeed he is there, were Scottish in nature, but not all. There were some whose sigils I could not identify, but from what I saw, and he'll give the general overview of the camps, of the flanks, of the people that he saw mobilizing and mustering.
Do you also describe the design of the ones you didn't
He will.
recognize? Okay then. Maud, make me an intelligence politics.
Yes. That's intelligence politics.
I would also accept Seneschal.
Which is higher? Let's see. Oh yeah, I have none in Seneschal.
Yeah.
Oh, I have none in politics too. Hooray!
Fun. Actually, then
So
you
fun.
can't roll because you don't have any points
Oh,
in it.
That's good to know.
The
Yeah.
fun thing with knowledge is, if you don't have any points in knowledges, you can't
Nope.
roll. You don't know
Not
anything
roll.
about it.
Didn't think so. Nope.
So never mind. None of you
Yeah,
seem
never
to
mind.
recognize those symbols. Or the coat of arms.
Mm-hmm.
In any case,
And
that's what I saw.
considering there was some time in the backstory, Mark, is there
Mhm.
any way that I can strike that I'm a member of nobility and would understand, would have a broader idea of at least some basic heraldry?
I think that would actually make sense. So you know what? I'll have you roll it. It'll be a intelligence plus politics, but it will probably be at a high difficulty. We're talking about difficulty 9.
I'll blow 1 willpower to make the roll.
Alright. So... Intelligence, politics... Politics, difficulty 9... 1 willpower. That makes it 1 success. Sadly, with a... Hold on. I don't think that rolled properly. Should definitely have higher than that. That's strange.
Hmm.
Let me try this again. I might have just clicked on the wrong one.
Oh.
Yeah, it rolled it wrong again. I don't know what's going on. That's weird.
Huh.
Sometimes the
So
sheets
weird.
get coded wrong. It happens.
Maybe just roll
Yeah.
the dice manually.
Well, it rolled the correct number of ties this time, I think. Yeah, no, it did.
Yeah.
It just
Oh,
didn't do
gotcha.
so the first time, for some reason. Oh no, it did. I just read it wrong.
Yeah, I did.
Either way, I'll go for the
Yeah,
second one.
Yep.
it rolled 4 dice. Yeah.
Yep.
So we'll make that 2 successes.
Alright. At least a general, like a general area or location or something.
The main thing you can tell by hearing about the scribes is it seems to match the coat of arms of those up in Ireland. But you don't recognize specifically whose it is, as there are a number of different factions and lords of the Isle of Ireland.
Right.
Ireland.
So, with that news, as he's describing them, seems like some of the Irish have joined the Scottish.
That's
I'd
unusual.
like to see that.
Well,
Hmm.
considering I have a suspicion, but it wouldn't be far for somebody such as Demetrios to reach out to support the ex-king or something of that nature. So it's at least information to know. We might want to push some, at least alert the king through a herald. Send a runner to alert them, and we probably ought to see if we can get any of our people to oppose that, because that might be where we could have some issues.
We've already known that this was a proxy war, but I will say this. For the immediate matter, the Cainite and the mortals here, there is precious little we can do within the next few hours before the sun rises. But there is one option, which is dangerous in a couple of ways. When last we spoke of these ghouled hounds, fattened off of the blood of a Cainite. They obviously hunger for the blood of the living and the unliving alike. But this could be an advantage in the right hands. Obviously, a possible breach of the silence and a risk to the one who would call them. But I do not believe they would obey anyone with the powers of animalism on the enemy side either. They could be baited before the mortals reach them.
It's risky.
It's risky.
How big was the speck?
The spec?
Made up of
Out of character?
pounds of.
The pack.
Oh, pack.
It was made up of pounds of all the surrounding villages that the Cainite could call. Pounds from all the households. So
More my thought process. It's quite possible that they have this exact force could be supported by ghouls, which would get around in the daytime. That's what I meant by invading force. Which means the silence may not be as big of an issue, because it's probably already about to be broken.
With that in mind, I can, unless anybody else would prefer to do it, for it is not the most safe thing, fly and see if I can bait them with either the scent of my blood or the call of my power. I do not intend to have them serve me. I intend to have them be nearby where they can smell either vitae or flesh.
If you can get them headed in the direction of the beach where their troops are mustering and towards the road that one group is going towards, that's all you can do. Though I
the
do worry
tactic
that
we
it's
wish
going
to
wear
start
on you.
with, though.
That's what the king's orders are.
I mean, as far as the hounds. Do we want to start with that? Or do we want to meet some of these Cainites who've chosen to invade our shores and have a polite conversation about what they're doing?
Oh, I
I
didn't really
think
consider
if-
that. I prefer to kill them, but if diplomacy is the
okay.
best way to go, then I'll
At
do
least
that.
try it.
We
Before
could
we go
absolutely.
directly.
Yes, we could absolutely try diplomacy. But if they start attacking before the attempt is even made, we need to be ready. We need to have a backup plan.
And
I
beyond
think it's
that,
good as a backup plan. That is our first opening salvo.
My concern is this.
Mm.
If we do not act within these next few moments, we will not have a chance to. And the
Yes.
armies will go to war during the day when we
the
cannot
armies-
assist.
yes, they're going to either way. And either way, no one's going to look at a group of wild dogs coming out of the woods and they go, well, they don't want to negotiate. Look at their heraldry. They're dogs.
Plausible deniability then.
And either way, we are running out of time.
I'd prefer, considering that they are my main meal, for the people of Peel to suffer as few casualties as possible within the next melee. I'm in favor of summoning the dogs. And my preference is this, that the dogs die taking quite a few of the invading forces out with them. They were a problem already.
2 birds with 1 stone.
And all
He
of
looks
our own
around
people
for
are
Rose.
in safety now. There's no chance that the dogs could take out our own.
Exactly.
There's always a
did-
chance.
Hmm.
They've already been doing it.
I have, yes.
Did anyone make any contact with other of our kind?
Yes. I was able to get Captain Blackwood and Sister Morena and another Knight as well to lend their forces. So they are mustering as well, getting everything possible.
Good that they're
Plus,
working together.
if there's one thing about a catastrophe, it brings people together. And I may have perhaps mentioned that it would look good when deciding the fate of their feud.
Good idea.
Thank you.
ST, how we're speaking in terms of a couple to a few hours. How long do we have before we're out of time for the day?
You have
Or night?
about 2.5 hours
Okay.
before you should probably. It's 2.5 hours before you need to start finding a place to sleep for the day.
Very good. And knowing what we know about the Canaanites that we were just spoke of, obviously none of us except Iris have met Amir, but Captain Blackwood and the sister, would we have an idea of where they might pull their people together?
Likely, if they do report back with what they've happened, it'll probably be tomorrow. It's unlikely they'll be able to do so within the time that's left and report back to you within that time.
Right. Iris, do you know where the prince is?
I didn't mean to mention it. He's going to be going somewhere safe for a while. I'm certain you all noticed it was clear as day that he wasn't feeling himself at our last meeting.
He abandons his domain at perhaps the worst
He
possible
is
moment.
not abandoning it. He
Now's
can't help it. He is feeling, and she'll lean in, feeling the cold.
now's not the time. I merely asked, as I wanted to make sure he was in a safe place, and that you felt that he is. Yes.
He's felt the calling of Torba. I don't know when he'll be back.
Right.
Well, he's left us in charge, and we're capable, so
I
As long
just
as he's
wanted to
safe.
be safe. Exactly.
Yes, hopefully he is.
Okay. The king has called the men out to attack. It's judging by the size of the. Well, what are the size of the forces? What. He turns towards Randolph.
Equal to the city of Peel, at least. It would be a bloody battle in an open field.
We have our defenseless going towards the church. We have some of our own people organizing their people, though tentative at best, and probably to take their sleep shortly. And we have like a few moments to make some decisions.
There are a few things we can do before danger abounds. One, as I mentioned, is potentially seeing if we could trail those dogs. The second, if diplomacy, as Gwen had pointed out, is a priority, we can make some kind of mad dash to see if any of the Canaanites are trying to infiltrate or go around their camp, go there as clandestinely as we can and speak. That said, that brings other dangers, which only some of us are equipped to deal with.
Right, so we don't have much time to do that, and we wouldn't want to fall victim to sleep close enough to where they could take advantage of that.
I will say this. That fear is not a concern that I specifically have. And if there are last minute arrangements to be made, I can do so outside of the city if you wish. That said, I'd prefer to have something in between me and an army.
Certainly,
Do,
but if it's 2 hours until sunrise,
do any of you? I do not. I have no child there, nor do I have any. Do I keep any ghouls? Do any of you?
Correction, Oliver. You have 2 ghouls.
Oh, that's right. I absolutely do. Problem with not being able to read your own character sheet. What were the 2? I've got a squire and what else?
Yes, you have a squire. Let's go and find him. Sheet. Your squire, named Percy, and Steward Anders, your loyal steward ghoul.
That's right. Oh, I'm gonna do something that's gonna make me roll, and I don't want to. Do I consider the prince my lord or the king my lord at this moment? Which is more important?
The prince is your lord.
Okay, and he told us to protect the city, right?
Yeah.
That's just all right. I'm going to suggest maybe I send my steward with a letter of diplomacy
agree.
to the other force
I think
and
a
see if-
message is the way to start diplomacy now. Short time.
and to offer a meeting tomorrow evening.
Agree.
yes, I do like that idea. We can send those that don't have to worry about falling victim to the morning.
Very well.
I
That's a
will
good idea.
say this. There is a risk if your steward is noted by people of the guards to secretly commune with some members of the enemy camp that his name and yours might come under suspicion. I trust, however, in his discretion. Does this mean we're not going to lead a pack of bloodthirsty dogs to kill and get killed by the people we don't particularly care about?
Not straight
I would
away.
say that plan is second. Yes.
Fair enough.
Although, if we can get the message to the Cainite in particular among those forces, I would prefer that than a diplomacy message to the Kain
This
leaders.
will cost me a great deal, I fear, but if I send the steward with a squire as a show of respect, it might buy us a short amount of time, but do keep in mind, these people mean to take our city. It's the ex-king wishing to be king again.
Quite so.
It's true, but it's the Cainites who will turn the tide, not the
Exactly.
mortals.
So, Randolph,
I-
if you did want to have a test run to see if you'd even be able to, slightly lower risk with the rest of the night. See if you then could lead the
Teamwork.
dogs.
I would not be leading the dogs by giving them orders, for
Sounds
indeed
dangerous.
they
I
seek
know,
my blood.
Johnny.
If I'm not
You
doing it
are
for
leading
any
them.
reason, then I'm not doing it.
Oh,
If I'm doing it to
Agree.
strike a
It's too
tactical
dangerous.
blow, then I'm doing it.
all right.
I will say this. It is very good that you're sending your steward and squire as a show of respect. Given what we know about the Prince of Edinburgh and indeed the Prince of Avalon, we'll consider them suborned until we can assure ourselves of their loyalty later.
Well,
Okay.
and to be quite honest, you don't need to worry about them knowing who I am, unless some other things were put. These are people I took after heading this way. So,
Good.
that will be my objective, Mark, is to get them to conscribe a suitable letter of diplomacy for a meeting and hopefully
Oh, I can
get
do
it.
that. I can do that part.
And then
I would
He's
ask.
got
As long as they
fancy
can take
words.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was
Hold
that,
on, so
Mark?
part.
The one thing I would ask is whether you would include specific words that might draw the interest of Canites or those who are aware of
Yeah.
Canites, or if it is a simple letter.
No, I would be looking for some words to draw out Canites was my goal. Now,
All
I'm
right.
not writing the letter, so that's
Yeah, that's what I would do as well.
All right. So I'd say then you're very careful in your wording to make sure that this is. Actually, no. Let's do a roll to find out. Gwynedd,
Yeah. Yay.
What do you mean
Why?
dice decide everything?
I know.
We
So weird.
decide.
Gwynedd, this will be an intelligence and yeah, intelligence and enigmas.
Ooh.
Well, let me know if you have points in
Well,
enigmas.
like
If you
that
don't, it will be a
dice
different roll.
rolls.
A riddle wrapped inside an enigma, wrapped inside a mystery.
I don't even know how to tell that.
It's the
enigmas
knowledge
are under
on
knowledges.
the... Yeah.
Yeah.
The
On the
primary
first little
sheet.
page.
Could also be an expression roll.
I think in this case specifically, it's enigmas.
I just have one. I just have one in enigmas.
Okay, then that's fine enough. It's yeah, so it'll be intelligence, enigmas, difficulty 7.
Okay. And let's spend a willpower. What happened?
Ooh.
Hey.
All right, that's 3 successes. On 3 successes, you successfully managed to craft a letter involving some of the more secretive terms that only one who is knowledgeable in Canites and their servants would be able to pick out. As well, not obvious enough that it might be considered a breach of the silence of the blood. Essentially, for someone to try and figure it out who is not aware of Canite stuff, they would need at least 3 successes on a much higher difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, you craft your letter, and I assume hand it off to Sir Oliver, who hands it off to his steward and squire.
Yeah, Sir Oliver would, during the time the letters be written, definitely get his people together and try to grab whatever is left. Obviously not war horses, but fast riding horses, right?
Mm-hmm.
To for messages, and make sure that his squire and both are definitely wearing the clothes of their station and whatnot, so that it appears that they're on diplomatic duty, right?
Absolutely.
I really got to learn how to read at some point.
Overrated.
No.
So
Wonders
useful
could
skill.
teach you.
All right. So you send your squire and Gulof, of which they head out. However, you find yourself at a point where you are about an hour till sunset. or sunrise, I should say. And you all must prepare yourself for the day sleep. Is there any final things you guys would like to attempt to do before you head off for the eternal rest?
Randolph has very little in the way of resources and things to manage within the city. So I believe he will spend the last hour before the sun rises, making sure that the city has not been infiltrated, making sure that the walls are fine, essentially aping one of the archers on the walls and walking along, patrolling. His haven is outside the city, and he won't go
Yeah.
back there. He's going to earth meld within city limits.
Makes sense.
Uh,
Do note you would have to find like a proper fresh bit of land, as you can't just
Yes.
move into like stone or unnatural dirt.
Yeah, he
But you're
can't
able to
he
do
can't meld into wood.
Yeah. Can't get that wood.
No, not
Yeah.
since the embrace.
No. Right. So, how do the rest of you find your havens for the night? This might be a good time to figure out that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think because Maud's haven is her farm, which I imagine
Wouldn't be able to
decent way
get you
out.
on time.
I wouldn't be able to get to it in time, no. So I think she would try to like navigate her way and find some place she could hold up for the night.
I'll
Iris
say
would let it
this.
be known that they could offer up the church as well. She has a domain there, and the ground there is suitable as well.
You
That's
can
way
also
better
stay in
than
there.
my suggestion,
Yeah.
which is here's a cool hole. Look, this is the kind of place that you can dig in, and the sunlight only slightly
Play in
burns
the
your hand
dirt.
off.
You
And
guys are
if
also
Randolph
free
wanted to be buried.
Yes, you're also free to use the castle itself, which has a number of rooms designed for
Ah, yeah.
Cainite stays.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I
Gwyneth
think
is gonna
Maud-
check in. Go ahead, Mon.
Oh no, you're good. I think Maud might take Iris up on the offer.
Gwyneth is gonna check in with his herd and his childer and the villagers, make sure they're settled and that he and his childer both have what they need to rest and an appropriate place for that.
And I think that Oliver would probably have sent, at least had sent out. I don't think his actual haven's terribly far outside the city, but I can't remember where we discussed it was. So he would try to be getting his herd to go report to the church and then take up in the castle.
All right, makes sense. All right then. With that, you all prepare yourselves for the day sleep. Closing your eyes once more as the coldness of death grips your form. And everything fades into that dark abyss of death. Until your eyes flutter open once more. A feeling of an ancient deep fear in your heart receding as the sun sets over the horizon and you awaken once more to the dark and cold night. With that, you all return to the meeting hall, the meeting chamber, I should say, to find there is already someone waiting for you there.
do we spend a blood point upon waking?
Oh, absolutely. You all spend 1 point of blood.
Yeah. we
Ugh.
love spending a point of blood to wake up in the morning.
Wake up in the morning feeling
Come on.
ever more hungry.
Breakfast come and go, Randolph.
Oh wait, I am at half.
What?
Ooh,
Letting you know.
good to know.
Yeah.
You are starting to feel the pangs of hunger.
Sure
It's
am.
not quite at the point where it's overwhelming, but it's there in the back of your mind.
Who meets
Uh,
us, and do we
and-
know who they are?
It is a familiar figure.
Familiar.
One, if I can find her in my list of NPCs.
Yep.
Oh fuck, it's my sire, everyone run!
Brit, that's so real.
Your sire's hanging out with the dog pack. Let's be honest.
You size in the
Oh.
doghouse?
Oh yeah, she'd be right at home.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Lily,
you're in here.
stinky.
Really stinky? Oh no.
No.
I didn't mute myself, so I shouldn't be surprised that that was picked up by the mic. But yes, she is.
Oh no. I mean, it's good radio to fill.
Sister Morana awaits you in the
Hey.
chamber.
Point of reference: were my my squire and my chamberlain were they there when I woke?
They have not reported back to you yet.
Okay.
This is very much the first thing you've done as you've awoken.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if they knew where I was staying and came there or not. So gotcha.
No problem. I imagine they do. But we will get into
They
that.
have.
We'll find out.
As you arrive, Sister Morana looks to you all with a greeting and says, I have information that you might find useful.
Excellent. Do
Very
share.
good.
Lovely.
What do you have?
Among the forces that have landed, there are 3 known Canaanites among them.
Three.
One is a Toreador of the Rose.
Do you have their name?
I do. And I think you will find it is a name you recognize.
Ah,
Suspense is killing me. Please.
is it Lord Duncan? I'm guessing here.
Indeed.
Ah,
It seems he has come upon the word of his prince. Though for what reason, I have not been able to suss out. The other 2 are simple Canaanite soldiers from their city. No one of importance, I assume.
No thoughts on potential clan connection for them?
Be helpful.
From what I have found, you still have time if you wish to indeed engage them within whatever battle you desire. But you know, I always assume the best plans are to avoid unnecessary scrapes with our own.
Agree.
After all, the right of destruction can only be handed down by an elder, a prince, and we seem to find ourselves without one.
We shall find.
We'll manage.
That said, the right of destruction generally includes guests to a domain. If they come as invaders, I'm sure those who wrote the traditions won't mind. That said, Lord
'Tis not
Duncan
those
is a decent
you-
man.
'Tis not the writers of laws you need to convince. 'Tis those who intend to enforce them.
True enough. With this in mind, it seems to be us who will be doing so. Meeting with the Cainite is a fine idea. If we can figure out why they have come more than merely the bidding of the Prince of Edinburgh, we can see if there are larger designs at work. Feeling that so long as Peel stands, we all have a home.
Always.
For now.
Thank you, Mr. Moran.
Fine work.
I do what I can. But I recommend you figure out a proper plan for the future of this city. If we survive
Yes.
the battle, something will need to happen. Something will need to change. Which reminds me, Iris.
Yes, sister.
The father has left you a letter, as she pulls out from her cloak, and her large skeletal hand reaches forward, the flesh tight upon the bones, as the hand extends out unnaturally far.
Yes,
letter.
Lovely. Thank you. Iris will
Uh,
attempt to take it.
As you do take it, you see that the letter is stamped with the seal of the prince, of Father Collins.
Open it and read it.
As you open it, it is written in his hand. The first thing that it writes says, "Dear Iris, I must apologize, for I cannot see you off in person. It seems I had even less time than I expected. I leave this city in the hands of you and the trusted few I have called together. I wish for you to do all that you can to ensure that the city stands strong, protecting those that need the protection. No doubt this will mean that a replacement must be found in my place. Someone must declare praxis. Lest another ambitious and powerful Cainite were to come along and make the decision for you. I send with you my regrets, but also my hope. Till we next meet again. God be with you. Father Collins."
Finishes the letter like her eyes are kind of dilating and growing large as she goes. And then as she finishes, she just whispers, "And with you, my prince." Folds the letter and turns to the rest of the group. A single little tiny blood tear starting to form.
Oh, that's
He is
yeah. How No, never mind. I'm not at the point of frenzy at that kind of thing. But canine blood is very tasty.
Goodness.
true.
Uh,
I will say, for Maud, as soon as that tear
Yeah.
begins to roll down the face, there is a thought in the back of your mind, that little bit that's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
God, that might taste good.
Goodness.
Oliver, seeing that
Thirsty boys.
tear, will turn towards the sister that is delivered the letter and walk towards her. Thank you so much for everything you did, and start kind of like guiding her out of the room.
She kind of stands still as you attempt to guide her, just kind of watching you for a moment.
Is
Thank you,
Anas ever
sister.
really out of the room?
And after a few moments, she turns her head and begins to walk out of the room, reaching out with her long, spindly hand to the door, opening it before turning slightly and saying, "You all should be very, very careful. You may find that yourselves have been thrust into the greatest of dangers."
Thank you, sister.
Don't
Be
thank
safe as
me.
well, sister.
Oh, but I
God
must.
be with you.
And also
with
with
that,
you.
she steps out of the door. Steps behind the door, rather. And you are left alone in the room.
But
We're
yes,
shut.
wipe away the tear. He has. He's had to leave. Officially. The prince. We need
See,
to find a replacement on top of everything else.
Now,
Praxis must be declared.
I can't read. But were there any names that were mentioned, or is it to our discretion?
Said that we are to be left in charge, and that Praxis must be declared lest someone with more ambition do it themselves.
Well, I shall say this, for I am sure you are all clamoring to see me in charge of a city. There are certain problems that I have with maintaining a dominion or a domicile that shall make it quite difficult indeed. With that in mind, I shall not be prince.
Great. But we should still look for someone who we feel would be good in that position.
Aye. With that in mind, in this room immediately, and no offense, Maud, but Gwynedd, Iris, and Sir Oliver are likely to be good candidates if we want to choose amongst ourselves. If we want to go beyond cronyism, there are names, but we do still have well, if we are to meet with the Canaanites, we should have a leader.
If we try to extend beyond this room,
I
that
don't
will
think we can.
exactly. That will give the opportunity for others to know what is going on that may try to do so themselves.
I can offer succor to people, but I don't have confidence in my leadership abilities.
Aye, neither
I'm
do I.
more of a advisor and a helper than anything else.
You have the legitimacy, and indeed the tutelage of the prince from previous times, but, well, the way that Morana acted, you were quite on edge. You need a little more ice in the veins.
Did you see her? She's
Aye. Hell of a woman.
Amazing form. Really developed over time, clearly.
But that said, your connection
Unsettling.
with the prince,
Unsettling.
the connection with the prince would give you legitimacy. But if you lack confidence in your abilities there, I'm inclined to take you at your word.
There, however, Iris, no matter who it is, whether it be one of us or another, your support will give that their claim legitimacy as well.
Of course, I trust all of you in this room. We were assembled by our prince for a reason, and with each of us our own strengths.
Gwydion, which would you prefer? It's down to you and I. Which would you prefer and why?
Well, I would say I'm less likely to be on the battlefield, which could be distracting for decisions that need to be made. Certainly, I come from a long line of leaders, but to assert myself feels wrong. Of course, I would be representing all of us, because that is my belief in community. But what do you feel, Oliver?
Well, I'm willing to work with. I think all of us bring our own strengths, and we're going to depend on each other. That feeling of community is something that I promised the prince I would uphold. In fact, I vowed. So that cannot fail. Your, I don't want to say inability, your wish to not necessarily be the leader on the battlefield does not keep you from being a good prince. You just put somebody in spot as your war chief or warlord, and they act for you on the field.
Yes,
I
I
could
do
do
have
either.
those.
And would be glad to do either. I did vow to the prince I would not let the city fall. But my very disdain for my own clan, always wanting to rule without worrying about the people, could make us a target as well.
Prince Collins was a rare man indeed, in that he cared quite a great deal about the Cainites and kine under him, more so than a mere food source or labor source. It's what drew, at the very least, it's what made him and Iris get along like a big house on fire, and I'm sure it's why you pledged him your loyalty beyond debt to be paid. You
Right.
can do much the same. It's a weakness, but it's one
It's a
that's
strength.
worth it.
Because working, and I look towards Gwydion, working
I know.
negotiations and keeping everybody to work together towards one purpose only makes us stronger.
Right. Well, Gwynedd, Sir Oliver, if it is between you, that as well. But we cannot decide right now.
We have to decide right now.
Oh,
At this
no.
point, there's a knock on the door.
Oh, how I
I will go to the door and crack it. Yes.
As you open it, you see your ghoul, Stuart Anders. My apologies, my lord. Is this a bad time?
It's not great. Do you have news?
Indeed, I do.
Please enter and give us what you can.
Of course. With that, he steps in to the chamber. bowing to all of you respectfully, as someone who is, in many cases, status, rank, below you all. As he looks to you all and goes, my lords and ladies, I have reached out to those of your distinguished kind among the enemy's host. My letter seems to have found its mark, as I received something in return from a servant of a lord. I keep getting his name wrong because I can't find his sheet.
Duncan.
Duncan.
Fair.
Lord Duncan. He has agreed to meet with you in a neutral position between both forces. A little off to the side, of course, so that anonymity and secrecy can be kept. From what I can tell, he does not seem to have hostile intentions towards those he meets, but I have not been able to hear much of him. Just the letter that I received from his, those within his service.
Very well. May I receive the letter, and then can you go to... We have some decisions to make. I want you to be near to where I can get you should we need you, but we need to have a few moments, please.
Of course, my lord. I shall
Thank you,
be right
Honors.
outside the door. With that, he steps out and leaves you all.
Oh, so it
Fine,
seems
if a
diplomacy
decision-
after all.
Quite so. If a decision must be made, Maud, Randolph, who do you believe from the other two?
I think both of you would make excellent leaders. I think, Gwynedd, your power over the land and that which you hold domain would make you stronger and you could kill more enemies. Even though you don't intend to do that, you could gain more information around that kind of thing. The connections Sir Oliver that you have would be very useful. Your disdain for your clan's approach to power would mean that you're more conscientious. I'm gonna flip a coin.
All right, well, he's leaving it to chance. Maud, do you have any choices? Ideas? Preferences? Help?
May I make a proposal, and then Gwynedd make a counter proposal, and then you all make decision?
If you
My
wish, but I did hear from both of you already, and I would very much like to hear someone else's opinions.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I do think that Gwynedd might be better.
All right. And in case, now I'd be willing to hear those proposals.
If there's one amongst us that thinks the other should be better, then I'm... As I was to serve the last prince, I will serve this one. I will stand down any proposal.
I will say my thoughts on the matter. Gwynedd chose diplomacy first, and that is something that I agree with. That was one of Father Collins's greatest desires and assets. And the choice to speak and choose gentility and kindness over immediate action of violence, I think speaks volumes to his ability. And if those were the choices, I believe that Paula Collins would choose Gwynedd as well.
And I think we're all in agreement.
Well,
No hard feelings. So
No, I didn't want the position, but I was willing to do the position.
I don't think any of us wanted it. Because if they wanted it too much, I wouldn't want to give it.
we will all continue to work together. I think we agree that we need one to at least be the figurehead for now,
Quite
while
so.
the father is
so.
resting.
And when the prince comes back, he's our prince.
He still is now, but
Quite
in the
so.
meanwhile,
And Randolph does not say anything about that. But he does say, we did indeed need a leader so we could engage in these diplomatic talks without losing any legitimacy.
Right.
And a member of the High Clans, too, means that fewer people would be getting any ideas further ashore. Lily, get out of my... Sorry. With this in mind, meeting will be one of the best things we can do. Soon enough, we
speaking of
can...
which, Randolph, you know this. Duncan, tell us
Aye.
what you know.
Lord Duncan was the first gay knight I ever met, aside from my sire. I was mad. I fed where I could. I hid from the sun. Barely hanging on to my sanity and my mind, he came across me, and he brought me to Edinburgh. I would not quite call him a friend, but I think quite close. He is a decent person and even-tempered. If he's here at the behest of the Prince of Edinburgh, and he's loyal, though I never quite got to the bottom of what made him tick.
Well,
I knew him for 3 decades.
then you have an established relationship with him, and it sounds as though he is the sort to not choose violence first, which is good. Does the letter say when the meeting is going to take place?
Yes.
Okay.
It is about 3 hours before midnight.
And what time is it now?
It'll be pretty soon, I
Shit,
imagine.
It's
It'd be dusk.
yeah, it'd be like
we
dusk.
just rose.
So you probably got like 3 hours ish until that time.
Perhaps it might be wise to try to feed a bit
I agreed.
before.
I agree.
I would say that we have information that it was Duncan and 2 others, probably in his service. So we should probably, unless others object, my suggestion would be that we only send 3 to meet.
Only
certain-
3 visible. Or
Right.
only 3.
That
Is
would
it just
be
3 that we know of?
right.
I believe in the sister's ability to see what may be there, but on our part, myself, Randolph, suddenly, I think Oliver, but Maud may have other ways of being there. that be less intrusive. I should think the more of us, the better. Though perhaps Sister Iris would be best left in the city to attend to things here. How do you feel?
That is what is thought best.
I'm open to suggestion.
I think we should all go. There's safety in numbers. So long as we can have people looking after the city, it could be one of us, it could be the people already here. I don't believe there's too much wisdom in being fewer simply for etiquette's sake.
I agree.
Oh, but etiquette is the only important thing.
Right, sorry, I need to modulate my words. I don't believe that just for the sake of showing an even keel, we should take 3 of us. We should have as many of us there as possible, so each of us could have a say, or each of us could know what's happening. That said, we
I
do have ways of seeing beyond sight.
do
Yes.
not disagree with that thought, though we have a new acting prince in place. Are we to weaken them in their first show of etiquette and rulership of our city?
I agree. I think etiquette must be observed.
Oh no. I see a long future.
Isn't that a good
We've made
thing?
it work for this long, Randolph. We'll make it. We'll make it through.
Aye,
Promise.
that we shall. It was said with no heat. There was definitely like a fondness there
Yeah.
as he goes, okay, gonna make this work.
On the
Mhm.
while Iris definitely has the best knowledge of keeping the community safe, if they would wish to go, they also know our prince, previous prince. I don't know exactly how to claim that. Term that. They do know how they operated better than any of us. It
Do
would
not
be a
wish to
good
go
counsel.
then, Sir Oliver.
I'm willing to go. I'm just pointing out that this person is invaluable in these situations while we take the while we learn our roles within this.
Should go with. I know how to talk to people. And not to say that you don't, but I want to be useful. And I know I have uses in terms of helping the people, but this is important. And there very much could be an ambush waiting for us. It is good to travel in numbers. She'll look to Maud and Randolph and smile and say, Lone wolf, bad wolf. Right.
Aye.
What are you implying, sister? That we should all go?
Well, I did like the idea that send 2 and then, or send 3 and then have 2 on the sides, observing, just in case. You can be diplomatic and, peaceful. You don't have to be stupid.
I think, in my opinion, Iris, and since you have a previous relationship, Randolph, would be an ideal 3 to go. My vow was always to protect the city. I'm more than glad to stay here unless my etiquette would be useful. However, I believe that is already covered.
And how would you observe from a distance, Sir Oliver?
I believe
could
his advice is to remain here and look after the city, yes?
Yes.
And Maud, will you be watching us?
I would be.
I'm satisfied with that. I think it's important that one of us remain behind.
I ensure that nothing arises in the city that is a rude return.
Agreed.
I will say this. It is good we are doing diplomacy. Lord Duncan is a good man and someone who, well, I would not call a friend. I would say saved my life. That said, he arrives here at the head of an invading army. There's wiggle room there, but not exactly pleased with that. That said, we'll focus on what we can do for each other, rather than what has been done.
Your words are mysterious, but yes.
I'm saying that despite the fact that he was very good to me, happily kill him because he came at the head of an invading army. That said,
Okay.
I'd be more than happy to engage diplomatically because he's a good man.
Is he at the head though, or was he just told to come? That's what we shall find out.
Aye. The more
I
information,
appreciate the
better.
eagerness for bloodshed, though. Someone has to.
I'm just saying, I know he's very old, I know he's very powerful, I think it'd be good.
It's
You
good
think he's
to be
delicious, is what you're saying.
No, it's not
Noted.
about
Noted.
it's
So
not
noted,
about
Randolph. So
It's
noted.
good to
No,
be
it's about the
adaptable.
ritual of that. You know how I operate. Let's go and talk
I
to
do.
him.
Yes. Let's go. I have to
Why
tease you a
don't-
bit first, otherwise it's not fun.
Go,
I'm over a
no,
century old.
Ran-
I thought I'd be
Randolph.
past this.
Randolph, calm. Go feed. And then head out.
We should feed.
You should feed.
Incidentally, this is him above half blood.
Right, but originally you were the one that was like, oh yeah, we should definitely feed. And then it's like, well, let's go talk to him. No.
Anyway.
So, with that, one thing I would like to get clarified, Gwynedd / the group, do you officially declare Praxis? Or do you leave it kind of up in the air for the moment?
No, we have to officially declare.
Was the prince's last request before
Okay.
going off.
Praxis is declared, and Gwynedd is officially declared Prince of the City of Peel. As a note
May he
to
reign.
all of you, consequences will be formed due to this decision.
Yeah.
It is
I know-
one
I
thing
know, yes.
to have someone be prince. It is another to have a Zemitzi be prince.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was
It's
thinking of
making the
that
right
too.
decision.
I
But
don't
we
know.
will discover those consequences next time
Hell yeah.
on Isle of the
Yay.
Damned.
Is it
And
now Isle of the More Damned?
well, you guys were damned to start with. I don't know if you can get much more damned than being a horrible, violent
Well,
creature of the night.
Fashionably damned, you know?
We started pretty
Be
bad. We
fashionable.
started pretty bad. We maybe got better, maybe got
You can
worse.
get
We
worse.
were damned the
don't worry.
moment they sunk their fangs into us.
No, we were
Absolutely.
damned the moment the blood came into our body and then we rose as the unliving dead. When you get eaten, you're just
Alright.
eaten.
I feel like this is
Well,
a
let's
chicken
see.
or the egg kind of situation.
What came first?
This
The
feels like
egg
a
came
Christian
first,
judgment, and I
obviously.
I don't flow with those judgments. So
I blame the storyteller. For once, I will not blame Randolph.
Thank you.
Good. You shouldn't. He's
Don't
doing
But with
blame him.
that-
We just harass
He's a
him
good
little bit.
puppy.
But with that, I will wish you all good night. Thank you for watching. We'll do some quick outros for our players going around the table. Why don't we start off with... Let's start off with Drew. Why don't you give us a goodbye from you and Sir Oliver?
Again, I'm Drew. I've been playing Sir Oliver. It's always nice to put on a little show and play a good game with some friends. Thanks
Yeah.
for tuning in. Look forward to next time.
All right. Blue, say your goodbyes.
Everyone, I have been Blue. Be monologue in all your social media places. Tonight playing Prince Gwyneth of Peel.
Oh, yeah. Thomas, goodbyes for us.
Hello, I have been Thomas. You might see me in other things, also things which specifically Mark are in a Pendragon game run over on Ticking Time Bob's Discord server and Twitch channel. Long live Prince Gwynedd. I've seen how I've seen how his grandsire handles things, so it's a good time.
Yep.
That place
Sure
ran
will
like
be.
clockwork.
Oh, good.
True facts.
To be fair, there was 3 people living there. 4, technically, I guess.
Like clockwork.
Well, yeah.
Just
I've been.
go ahead.
I've been. I am Rebecca. I've been Iris. I've made a huge mistake. I am also on the Pendragon game. However, I am on the Tuesday night game. And that is more of a Summerland and magic and fairies and mysterious things that happen. And that's all fun and good. And join our Discord. Did you know we have a Discord? But yes, that's me done.
All right. And last but certainly not least, Mars, give us a goodbye.
Yeah. Hello. Well, goodbye. I'm Mars, and I played Maud, lovely Aramanes. And she also pledges allegiance to Prince Gwynedd. Totally not a bad idea at all. I love consequences.
I mean, we had one vote.
All right. And with that, I have been Mark, aka the CatsMeow, playing everyone else. I hope you've enjoyed the second episode of Isle of the Damned. Feel free to check out the first video, which is on YouTube. Unless you're already watching this on YouTube. In that case, have you watched our first episode? Go watch it. I'm sure you'll enjoy it,
What
and
are
I'm
you
sure this will
doing?
make a lot more sense. But other than that, if you're watching on the Twitch, make sure to give us a follow for whenever get a notification whenever we go live. As well, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe and like for more videos. And feel free to drop a comment saying hi and what's your favorite vampire clan. Let us know.
Yeah.
Other than that, I bid thee all good night. I hope you sleep well, and that you do not find yourself an unwitting pawn in the great shadowy politics of the creatures of the night. Good night, y'all.
Everything to do.
Unless you really want to be.
Good night.